perhaps the most ridiculous thing that I read this weekend of the pre-sooking of the result of a referendum that still is not known. Now, remember what we said in 2019 about the federal election that nobody could possibly see coming, but I told you what was happening as it was happening because we were looking at the data. Nothing is inevitable. Just because the polls have all told us that it's heading in one direction, that's not the case. If you want yes, you vote yes. If you want no, you vote no. Don't assume that the rest of the country is going to do it for you, okay? But what about this? One of the blokes that featured in the Canberra bubble hit job on the Liberal Party in the lead up to the last election has literally suggested that we should introduce a maximum voting age, to get rid of the crusty old people. Because the narrative, of course, is that it's only the crusty old people that are holding back the national progress. Well, again, according to Newspoll, it's people over the age of 25. This bloke, Nick Ryan, says, and I know I'm giving what he wants, which is the trolling of his article and us talking about it here on what I have no doubt is his most loved part of the Australian media, Sky News in prime time. I'm not suggesting it for general elections. Everyone gets a say in who makes the laws that we live by, even if they are likely to fade before the posters on the power polls do. Like, again, the smarminess around this. People of a certain age are just inevitably going to die sooner rather than later, in the view of some progressives, because then there's less resistance to what they want. Well, this is just disrespectful. But for those referenda that seek long-lasting structural change, it just seems strange that we exclude the informed and educated teenager who will live with the consequences, but enfranchise the understandably conservative group who won't. A very significant number of people who voted to keep this country shackled to a foreign monarch back in 1999 have since learnt the hierarchy in heaven isn't arranged by inbreeding the royal houses of Europe. Can we go back to the demos, if we can, control room? The crusty people that held us back since 1999. 25-year-olds and above in this country, the majority of which in all of those breakdowns currently sitting no. Does that mean it's going to be no? Well, no. Nothing is inevitable. We'll all wait, watch and see, and we'll be there on the night, and it'll be, again, fascinating to watch it like an election. Will there be the obvious result that we all saw coming, like, say, 2022, or will there be a surprise? Because, as we've said many times, we don't have enough data out of South Australia. We don't have enough data out of Tasmania. I think it's going to get up in New South Wales and Victoria. Well, that gets them to the 4 states that they need. Or is it going to get up nowhere? Which currently, many of the polls suggest that's the case. Again, I think it's too close in New South Wales and Victoria, but we will all wait, watch and see together. Meantime, there's another angle on all of this, that the current voice debate and those that are thinking about voting no, and that includes you if you are considering voting no right now, well, basically you have learned nothing from the frontier wars and you're as bad as the people who settled, colonised, invaded, pick your word, the country. David Marr, writing in The Guardian, flogging a book about the atrocities of the early days of the country, and there's no question about it, no one hides from it. Australians are beginning to face the question about what does the soul of the country, that is foundations, reset first in the conquest and then in crime. I hear those crimes being defended in the referendum debate, and the Yes campaign is condemned as woke, ignorant, expensive. While the voice is attacked as a privilege Aboriginal Australians don't deserve. Behind it all, I hear old familiar voices growling that nothing is owed to the native peoples of Australia. Nothing at all for the continent we took from them. Absolutely nothing. Again, this stuff does not help. If there is a population that is still to be won over, the insulting of the people who disagree with you as being no worse than the people who did absolutely commit the crimes of the past. Well, that's completely disproportionate, completely offensive and completely counterproductive, but we'll all learn about it together.